Please welcome Jada Bee.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here again. I'm sorry for missing our last session. We would have rescheduled for September, and that will be a preservation of garden goodies. And so September.
Please welcome Jada Bee.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here again. I'm sorry for missing our last session. We would have rescheduled for September, and that will be a preservation of garden goodies. And so September is good because that'll be time where we are really starting to look at how to preserve everything. So that's fine. Today we're going to do a cooking demo, and I have a few different dishes I'm going to make for you. Both are vegetarian because it was easier to prep vegetarian dishes for you, and because the garden is in full abundance right now. And I mean, you know, the weather conditions have been tricky. We were talking about that before the webinar started, but we're still getting a lot of abundance from the garden and from our farms and farmers with People's Market. So today we're going to do a Mexican street corn. We're also going to do what I call an Indiana BTP, which is green beans, tomatoes, and potatoes. And it's a really delicious dish that I ate growing up a lot. Many of these things you're going to be able to find in your region as well. Green beans are in full season right now. Corn should be in full season for many of you. Especially those of you a little more southern than us, and or will be coming on here. And then of course, tomatoes are in season. So we have some lovely yellow tomatoes today, and some lovely, beautiful corn. And so when I'm gonna get started with the corn dish first. And so some people call this Mexican street corn. It is kind of a take on that, and is pretty delicious. So you want to get a few ears of corn, shuck them, and get them into some easy bite-sized pieces like this. And then go ahead and put them in a pot to boil, and you want to boil them until they're soft. So we're going to set those while that's happening on our stove right now. We're going to set that aside and go to the next thing that we're going to prepare. So that's happening on our stove right now. I would flash over to it, but that'll be difficult with the camera set up. So the next thing that we're going to prepare are our potatoes. And so you're going to want to get like about, for the potato dish, you're going to want to get like 8 or so potatoes around this size. And you can either do red potatoes, like new potatoes, or you can do these little Yukon Gold potatoes. And you want to make sure you're cutting off your little bad spots on these potatoes, because sometimes when they're garden fresh, you're going to get little bad spots. And then you can cut them into little fourths like this. And sometimes I like to find the little tinier potatoes that are more around that size, and I just keep them whole. So we're gonna go ahead and parboil them, cook them until they're soft in the pot. So we're gonna put that in, that's cooking right now, and it's about ready for our next step, which is our green beans. And you can see here, I snapped a bunch of green beans, but these aren't actually green beans, these are yellow wax beans. But you can use yellow or green. We just had an abundance of yellow beans right now. And so you want to just make sure you're snapping off your green beans, snapping them in half. Make sure you get off the little end bits. Sometimes you'll find that maybe there's just a little bit of, damage on your garden fresh green beans. So you want to make sure you are getting that damage off. And they'll snap pretty good for you if they're in good nick. Oh, you hear that lovely snap? And so we'll take these green beans and we're gonna wait until our potatoes are fully parboiled. And we're gonna put the green beans in with the potatoes. Sometimes people don't like that. Yeah, I see. The difference, some people are asking about whether we can increase the size of the actual demo. So the demo is being done on my phone and I'm being done on my computer. And so the size is the size. I'm not really sure how to increase it. We tried to play around with that and it didn't really work. So I think that's what we've got right now. I'm very sorry about that. We're not a professional studio here. We're just in a church, this is the First United Church that has given us space. So we're about at the point where the potatoes are ready. So we're going to toss these in and cook things up. And then we'll go back to the corn that was already cooked. These were pre-cooked. The magic of the computer. And these were pre-cooked. And so what I want to do is, and you've got two choices here. If you really want corn on the cob, you can leave it on the cob. But I'm going to do something where we're taking it off the cob so that we can put it in the oven easier. So we're just going to cut off the cob. And see how easy it cuts there because it is cooked all the way through. You can just take your fork, or if you have those cute little corn holders, the corn holders are great. I forgot to bring mine. That's what I usually like to use, but a fork works okay. And we're cutting off the cob. Now there's this new thing that people are doing where they're splitting their cobs into fourths, and they're calling them corn ribs. And I think it's a little weird, but I've tried it before and it tasted good. Now you don't put barbecue sauce on it and things like that. You kind of still treat it like Mexican street corn where you're putting some particular seasoning and things like that on it. But yeah, it's kind of fun. You've got to have a really sturdy, a much bigger knife than this, a big knife to cut through your cob. And we're getting all the corn off here. All right, put all of our corn in our bowl. Put our waste to the side. And then we take our pre-prepared corn that I have for you here. We'll mix this together. Kind of break up that cob corn that I just cut off. All right, and put it together, kind of spread it out. Don't spread it too far or the kernels that are on the edge will probably get a little too crispy when we put this in the oven. So we're gonna take that corn and we are going to put some butter on it. Now, I believe Emma put in the chat the approximate amount of
doing that now.
Oh, thank you. She's putting your recipe in on both of the dishes we're doing today. But as I say, you really need to think about this is how your ancestors would season and flavor things. And you season and flavor until your ancestors tell you to stop. And if those of you who do not have particularly spicy ancestors, just season until I tell you to stop. How about that? So on this, this delicious corn, we're going to be putting my magic mix, which is many of the ingredients that you see listed there. There's some extras that I use myself. So we have some cumin. We have paprika. We have garlic. Black pepper. And salt. Now, because I want a little spice in my life, I am going to add some tahini here. And I have my own special mix that I make myself. So I'm going to add that here, which is what's in that bottle anyways. And this adds a little bit of lime juice flavoring to it. We're going to get some other lime in when we do the dressing. But this just has a little bit of a lime and a chili kick to it. You can add chili pepper in here, and I believe the recipe tells you to do that. Yeah, some chili powder in here. That was already included in some of the mixes that I have, so we're good to go on that. I also have a little jalapeno salt that I'm going to personally add because that's how I like it. And again, the recipe is a basic guide. You think about what you have in your garden and what you have on your shelves and what you would like, okay? So the recipe also calls for maybe some jalapenos and some cilantro to top it off with. For me, I want to put my heat in the form of a jalapeno salt that I'm putting in right now, okay? And then I'm also going to take, this is an add-on, so again, this is what I'm going to do to make this even more special for myself, is I have a little bit of a poblano pepper that I am cutting into weird shapes, apparently, because my hands aren't working today. And I'm just going to put that in here because that's my business. And I want a little bit of extra flavor. I want a little bit of extra something, but I don't want to add raw jalapeno, though that's what the recipe calls for at the end. Now, again, you play with it, you do what you want to do. After we do that, we're mixing it up a little bit. So the butter's going to get kind of mixed up in there. Okay. And then I'm spreading it back out just a little bit, not too far out. Again, pull those little babies on the side in. Okay, so this is ready to go into the oven for right now, and then we're going to do some other prepping for the other ingredients. Set your oven to 350. Have it preheated at 350, and you're going to pop it in there for probably around 15 to 20 minutes. It sort of depends here. We're going to check. This oven is a little different from my home oven, so we're going to check and make sure that things are crisping up. The goal is we want the corn to get a little crispy. We want all the flavors to meld together. Okay, so I'm going to pop this in the oven real quick. And that's a nice hot oven. And then the next thing I'm going to prep for the corn is our sauce that we're going to put on top of it. So this is like the elote sauce. So as you can see in the chat, you've got mayo, you've got sour cream in here. There's also where you're going to put the lime juice in. So we've already added that together because I wanted to make sure to have some things pre-prepped for you guys. And the last thing I'm gonna put in this, because it's about my business, is some garlic whip. And when we do our preservation video, I'm gonna teach you how to do this garlic whip. But essentially the ingredients in this garlic whip is garlic, olive oil, and lime juice, or excuse me, lemon juice, and a little salt. Not that much, just enough to kind of help preserve it. The lemon juice and the olive oil is going to preserve the garlic, but you can make tons and tons of it from the garlic that you have. This was full, when I put it together. And basically you keep it in your refrigerator and you can just keep pulling out garlic whip. So I have like 5 of these in my refrigerator, and I can have ready to go garlic that already has a little acid, a little fat in it already in order to flavor things. And so I'm gonna mix that into my crema here. And I put like half a tablespoon. I'm gonna go in for another dip. Clean off my fork. Another little bit, because I want it good and garlicky. And then because it's fun, I'm gonna add a little paprika in here to give it a little color. And to change it from that white to have a little bit of a pinky color to it. I don't know how much you can see that color change. So this right here is perfect. We're gonna set it aside for the corn when the corn is done, and we're gonna go in and sprinkle it on the corn at the very end. The other item for the corn is the feta cheese, or people use a Mexican cheese called, what is it, cojilla? I think it's called. Cool, yeah. But I'm using feta because it's easy to access. It is cheaper, and maybe those of you who live in the south of the United States or in other countries have greater access to different cheeses. The feta here in the Midwest has become kind of ubiquitous. I got this at Aldi. It was super cheap and easy for me. I needed feta for both of these dishes today to add the protein in for us. So I just got some feta. We're gonna open this up here. And my preference in feta is not for the cow's milk feta, but rather for the goat's milk feta. But again, we're dealing with what is cheap and affordable for me. We grow pretty much everything that we eat except for the dairy, which unfortunately is quite a bit of a diet sometimes. So we're crumbling up our feta. And this is a chance here, if you wanted to add some more flavoring, you can add your seasoning into this feta. Our corn is pretty well seasoned, so I don't think that we're gonna need that. So we're gonna set this feta off to the side for right now. I'll wash my hands real quick. And as an added extra, I'm gonna show you a couple of veggies that you may or may not have heard of. Well, these little veggies here that you may not have heard of. These are lemon cucumbers. They're a special variety. You can grow them pretty much anywhere where you can grow cucumbers. And they produce quite a bit. So I'm just gonna show you this while we're waiting for some things to cook. So we cut our lemon cucumber And it's got quite a bit of seeds in it, but they're pretty tasty. It doesn't really have a lemony taste per se, even though they're called lemon cucumbers. I think they're more called lemon cucumbers for the skin rather than the taste of them. But yeah, I'm just gonna put some of these off to the side here as just an extra bit of the dish. You can do this with a regular cucumber as well. There's only gonna be 2 ingredients in this, which is why I didn't list it in the recipes. And I didn't know if I was gonna have time for it. So I'm just taking that, I'm cutting it up real quick. Again, you can use a regular cucumber or an English cucumber if you'd like. I'm gonna put a little bit of apple cider vinegar, just about a cupful, over the top of my cucumbers. And I'm gonna take a little bit of lime juice. Again, about a capful, and just sprinkle it over my cucumbers. And I'm gonna have this as like a little garnish on the side for my meal, okay? And it's just something to sort of brighten up everything that I'm eating, having something fresh, along with all the other freshness in my meal. But it's pretty tasty. There's other things I can do to this. I can put a little salt in here. I can put a little honey on top of it to pull out some of the sweetness. But this is pretty good. And in fact, if you want to do a quick pickle method in your refrigerator, you can just do what I just did with a little salt, a little pepper, whole peppercorns, put it into a container and put it in your refrigerator. And then leave it for like, half the day. And you've got a nice quick pickle at home. So I'm going to set those aside, and I'm going to cut up some tomatoes for us for our next step. The beans and potatoes are still cooking. We're waiting for the potatoes to become extra soft. I'm gonna check them just real quick. Yeah. And for the green beans to get cooked. And so for the next step, what I want to do is I want to cut. Let me move this. There we go. Cut my tomatoes in half. And you can use these tomatoes, these little small tomatoes that you maybe cherry tomatoes if you want to. I like yellow because that's what I'm growing in my garden this year. I'm growing a lot of yellow tomatoes as well as some Roma tomatoes. But if you don't have, if you're not growing little cherry tomatoes, you can use the medium-sized tomato, red or yellow. Again, I'm growing almost entirely yellow in my garden this year, just because I wanted to. And then you'll cut them into fourths, and then cut those fourths again. So the tomato will be in eighths. Okay, and you need like it's 3 or 4 of them. I think it depends on you, really. Yeah. Did I put that? Apparently, I didn't put that in the recipe. I did, or I didn't. Maybe I did. Sorry about that. So your little tomatoes, and just cutting them in half. Cutting as many as I'd like. And I think, I think it's going to end up being like 15 or 20 of these little tomatoes. And if you're not growing tomatoes, if you don't have them in your garden, if you go to your local co-op or your local, grocery store, you're going to find some nice tomatoes, some nice ripe tomatoes. As 'tis the season of tomatoes. And what I really like about these little yellow ones is it's so much color, just pops so much color into everything. And so I got them all just kind of cut in half. and ready to go. I'm gonna set them off to the side and get yet another block of feta. And we're gonna have another block of feta. That we'll put into another bowl here. This is a feta heavy meal, which is why you can choose to leave it out in the green beans, or you can choose to put it in. I put it in because I want the protein. That's really all it is that I'm asking for just a little bit of protein. And in this, I'm just using half a cup here. The other one, we're going to use a little bit more than half a cup, because that's my business. And then I'm going to wash my. Sorry, I had to get a big bowl for you guys for the next step. Okay, our green beans and our potatoes should be done and ready to go. While I go get them, I'm also going to check on my corn to see if it's crisping up nice, where we're at in the process, to see if I need to stir it a little bit to make sure everything is getting, you know, all of the seasoning all over the place. Straining my green beans and my potatoes right now. And I'm gonna pop them into a big bowl. Ooh, look at that cheese. Now, the yellow beans like to go a little pale on us, which is no fun. But, you know, it is what it is. It's still beautiful. We're gonna put our butter in now because everything's nice and hot. And you see I'm cutting my butter in. And I should state that everything tastes better with Irish butter. I'm not going to tell you to buy Kerrygold, but you know, Irish butter is definitely more delicious than many other butters. That is for sure. And it does actually, there is a difference. People will say, oh, there's not that much of a difference between Irish butter and French butter or American butter or what have you. And the reality is that there is a difference. Irish cows, many of them have a lot of sea air that they are smelling. They have much more fresh green grass that doesn't have a lot of chemicals in it because Ireland doesn't use that much chemicals in their farming industry. And you see the tomato or the potatoes have released some of their starch on the green beans with the butter. And that is what we call real delicious. Okay, and now's the time for our seasoning. And so back to the garlic whip. I am going to add just a little bit of garlic in the garlic whip into this. Not tons, just a little bit. Then I'm going to go to my magic mix, which is a mix that I make personally, but many of the items that are listed there are wonderful, are the ones to use that are in my mix. This is some celery salt, celery seed. I put a little of that in. I've got a little extra garlic I'm gonna put in because that's about my business. And I've got some black pepper that I'm putting in. As well as a little bit of paprika. And we're gonna mix that up again. Just get those flavors in there. I didn't put, there's not tons and tons of seasoning in this one because the flavors from the potatoes and the green beans and the tomatoes are really gonna do it for you. So then the next we just dump in our feta. And the feta sits on top and will kind of melt a little bit. Just kind of mix it around just a little bit. And then put our tomatoes right on top. And just mix them just a little bit. Now you can see that you can add more tomatoes, you can add more feta if you want. It is up to you to sort of, if you want to even balance, that's up to you. But yeah, this is how I like it for today. And then the additional optional ingredients are some nice nutritional yeast. Those of you who perhaps have gout, do not use nutritional yeast because it is the same thing as brewer's yeast, and it will flare your gout up. So you want to stay away from that. But it is delicious and it's vegan and it adds a little bit of an umami taste, which is that other sense between sweet and savory and salty. Excuse me, bless me. And then this is something again, this is a dish that my mother would make every summer and multiple times a summer. And it kept us fed in Indiana. It's an Indiana tradition as well. Many other people eat green beans and potatoes and tomatoes like this. But one thing my mother did not do is add a balsamic glaze on it. Yes, for the street corn, I did mix the sour cream with the mayo. But it came pre-prepared, so I did that before you guys missed it. So the mayonnaise and the sour cream go together along with the lime juice. Okay, and then I added some garlic whip into it as well. So okay, so my mother didn't do this, but I think this little bit of acid here with this balsamic glaze really ties the dish together. Okay, so I just put like a little sprinkle and a little glaze on there. And yeah, so that is a finished one. Now, remember, if you're using regular green beans, it's going to be a brighter color. The green is going to come out more and give a color variation in this, but we only have wax beans because that's what's in season right now for us. But any kind of a green bean will work. Anything in the green bean family. I've also had this with black-eyed peas. I've had it with green peas, so fresh in the season green peas. It is up to you. There's a lot of different variations you can make on this dish and it will taste delicious. I'm gonna set this aside for right now because it's time to check on my street corn. Ooh. And here we are at this stage of the street corn. Now, I would prefer this to be just a little more toasty, but I don't think we have time for that. So this is what we've got for right now. It does look delicious. And I'll tell you, the smell from it is amazing, okay? Especially with these poblano peppers in here. They're just giving off this delicious, spicy, sweet scent. And like all of the seasoning that we have in here is just amazing, okay? Okay, I'm gonna plate this up for us real quick. So we're gonna put our corn here. Let me grab a little bit of these peppers. Okay, the next thing that we're gonna add is our cheese on top. And you can add it to the whole dish or you can add it individually. It's up to you. I'll be putting all of this onto the dish because that's about as much as I want on the dish. I'm going to take that crema that we made and I'm going to take a fork here and I'm going to lightly drizzle it on. And again, you can do this on the entire dish or just leave it, you know, individual people can mix up their own. Gonna put some of this delicious potato cheesiness and tomato green bean cheesiness onto my plate here. I'm having a yellow themed meal. Because I've got my little,
Sunshiny.
huh?
I said sunshiny.
I know, it's a sunshiny day. And then I have my little cucumbers. I don't think I planned it this way. That's really funny. And here we go. This is what I call a beautiful and delicious summer meal. You've got corn with some peppers, some lovely feta cheese with a crema on top. You have green beans, potatoes, tomatoes, Indiana delicacy, with a little feta on top and some nutritional yeast and balsamic glaze, and lovely, slightly seasoned lemon cucumbers. So this is a good dish, and I think it's kind of beautiful with all the yellow going on in there. Not planned, but that's what we have today. So if you have any questions, now would be a good time to ask.
Including if you have something that's in complete abundance in your own garden where you're like, what do I do with this? I bet
Yes.
Jada has some ideas.
I bet I do. Yeah, if you've got something that's growing out of control and you're not sure, what do I do with all of this?
Me too, Bridget. I wish Bridget just wrote, I wish I could somehow taste all of this. Yeah, me too. I'm over here starving.
I know they need to invent smell-o-vision and taste-o-vision, right? You know, in the iPhone can do a lot of things, but it can't do that.
Yeah. Hey Jada, if the cooking part is over, could you change your audio to your laptop? So
I sure can.
okay,
Yeah, give me 1 second.
sure thing. You're muted.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome. Any other questions? What to do with your abundance? I know that okra is coming on right now, and many of you may or may not be fans of okra, but okra is an amazing thickener for soups, for stew. Also, for those of you who are perhaps interested in regulating your sugar, making a drink out of okra is something you can do.
Anthony, wouldn't that be nice?
I know.
Just a reminder, if you could message everyone instead of just the hosts and panelists, that would be nice. So yes, I'll email out the recipes in the follow-up email.
Yes.
And then a cream alternative.
Yeah. For lactose intolerant, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a vegan sour cream, there is a vegan mayo. So all you need to do is get those products and you've got an alternative. If you just don't want to use those alternatives, they're too expensive, that kind of thing, my suggestion is to just put a little bit of the lime juice on it. Limes are pretty affordable because what you're looking for is the acid that those things bring, that crema brings to the party. So you can cut out the cheese entirely, but you need the acid from the cheese and from the dairy products that I'm using, right? And so lime juice, lemon juice is a good alternative. For the potatoes, if you're subtracting the cheese, then I would suggest putting a little bit more of balsamic glaze in there. This is a truffle flavored balsamic glaze. Ooh. And tips for those who are near TJ Maxx or TK Maxx, sometimes they call it that in Europe. In their like food section, they almost always have fancy glazes that are balsamic glazes or fancy balsamic vinegar for a fraction of the cost as they would in a high-end place or even your local co-op. So check that out.
And then I have a tip too. So usually the vegan sour cream tends to be pricier,
It
but
does.
really all it is plain vegan yogurt, whatever your preferred base is, with apple cider vinegar added. So you can really make your own at home much more easily and cheaper. And then Gloria, I often make marinated tofu to be feta. So that's definitely an option.
For sure it is. I often stay away from tofu if you're someone who is trying to lower their, like if they have estrogen issues, if you're having some estrogen issues, because a lot of soybeans here in the United States, if you're getting tofu and soybeans from the United States, is high in estrogen. So just a warning on the tofu. And yes, Home Goods has a great food section. Everything's always marked down, and you're getting products made in Italy or France or the south of Spain that normally retail in high-end cook shops or your local co-op or just high-end food stores for a fraction of the cost. And yes, okra. I see. Yes, 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 yes. That binding agent in okra is called flocculant, and there are a few other vegetables that have that flocculant in it. And what it does is it binds to the heavy metals in your body and helps pull the toxins out from your body. And so when you make a concentrated drink of just basically it's the okra slime. I know not everybody's into that, but it just tastes like vegetable. It just tastes like you're drinking a vegetable. Um, it really does help regulate your sugar because it helps pull all of that out of you.
Also, side note for Green Americans here who are interested in things other than food, they just discovered that okra substance can be used to remove
Yes,
microplastics.
yes, yes. And so
Better
they're,
than anything else they've tried.
yes, much better than anything else they've tried from the ocean. And so they're using okras and they're like creating these little mats from the flocculant in okra, and they're using to soak up oil and microplastics from the ocean. And they're using it to filter. And email the recipe for the drink that I'm talking about, the okra drink. Basically, all you're doing is you're cutting up some like maybe 3 or 4 okra heads, and you are putting it in, a cup and a half of water, and you're boiling it until it's thoroughly boiled down. You strain out the large bits of the okra, and you have a little bit of boiled okra water. You can refrigerate it, drink it straight, and it'll help you basically drink it before you're going to eat something.
Can you like add your favorite tea to that or? Anything like that?
I'm gonna say you're not gonna want to add.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing that you drink like half a cup of,
Gotcha.
okay, and you just drink it. It's not. It's like a tincture. You just take it. You don't think about what it tastes like, because it just tastes like vegetable water. But it,
Understood.
but it does have that okra slime that some people don't like. Yeah. Any other questions about any other abundant cooking that you can think of right now? Really, the best thing to do with your abundance is, make food with it every day if you can. Make a lot so you can have spread it out through the week. Um, One thing that I'm really focused on right now is trying to get my tomatoes packed and ready for the winter. And the best way that I do it is I knock off the stem of the tomato, put it in a bag, Ziploc bag that's labeled, toss it in the freezer. I don't need to parboil them. I don't need to take the skin off of them. I can do that later when I'm cooking them. They will go perfectly fine right into the freezer that way. Any ideas for green tomatoes that haven't ripened?
Fry
So
them.
I'm very sorry, but that's the problem that we're having here in Indiana. I did, however, see a very interesting idea. Someone went outside in just their road trying to get their tomatoes to blush. So I don't know how effective that was because they were like, woo! But once your green tomatoes just have a little bit of blush on them, you can pick them. Um, the best thing with tomatoes is cut off any and all leaves that you can so that the plant is focused on the tomato. So clip all of the leaves, clip all of your suckers that you don't want to form into other branches. Okay. You need to focus at all of the plant's abilities of production and energy into your tomatoes. So that will help them ripen, but honestly, you need a good sunny day, intermittent rain, and not tons of rain, not tons of sun. And we're just having a bad season this year, and I'm really sorry for everybody.
All right.
But I will say, green tomatoes. You green tomatoes are already edible. A lot of people, they think maybe they make fried green tomatoes, but green tomatoes, as soon as you get a tomato, that's a fruit. It's a vegetable that you can already eat. Um, Sometimes when we have too many green tomatoes and we don't want to eat a lot of fried stuff, we just cut them up and put them with the zucchini and with the squash and just stir fry them on the stove. And they just taste like another green vegetable. A little tomatoey. They're not as tomatoey as a red tomato, but they do have this like delicious tomato taste. But they're just a green vegetable. They're just another green vegetable. And in fact, they I would hazard to say that there is more nutrients in them as they're green than as they are fully ripened. But I'm not quite sure. Yeah, green tomato relish, that's a wonderful thing to do. But honestly, you can just cut them up, put them in a casserole, like something that you would put broccoli in, something that you would put okra in, succotash. You can make a succotash with them. Things like that. Green tomatoes are just another veggie that you can use, or fruit, depending on who you are.
All right. Are there any final questions? If not, I can close this out.
And the next time we meet in September, we're going to be talking about preservation. So I'm going to do a lot more in-depth preservation conversations. I'm going to show you how to make garlic whip. And I think I'm going to show you how to do some other herbal dried things. So, because that'll be what I've got going on that time of year from the garden.
Yes, I'm gonna attempt to share. I'm on one screen today, so it's a bit clunky with the sharing. Um, there we go. I'm gonna put up a screen so you can see a QR code for the next webinar. There we go. Do those QR codes look okay?
Yeah.
Great. This over. There we go. All righty. So, thank you so much for joining us today and being a part of Green America's Climate Victory Gardens community. Together, we can make a real difference in creating positive change for our planet and its people. You can keep the momentum going and stay connected by subscribing to our newsletter to remain informed about our latest campaigns, events, and sustainability tips. Your support fuels our work toward a greener, fairer future. Consider donating today to help us continue our vital programs and initiatives, including these free gardening webinars. Every contribution counts. Remember, your actions matter, and together we can build a more sustainable and just world. Thank you for your commitment to creating positive change, and we look forward to seeing you at our future events, including our webinar on September 18th. And yes, be on the lookout for that follow-up email. And Jada, thank you so much. I'm like starving now. Everything looks
I know I'm gonna eat all this right now.
how fortunate. So today we welcome gardener, forager,
I'll see you guys in
and community
September.
builder, Jada Bee.
Awesome.
Thank you so
She's
much,
the
co-founder
co-founder
of the People's Co-op
Bye,
in
take
Bloomington,
care.
Indiana, and she is the author of the book Gardening and Farming Journal, Our Liberation Fruits.